You know, I think for 3 days now, our guys have worked hard to improve. We got a long ways to go. I think they understand that. Been working all year, trying to get it right. Lots of competition out there today. I saw guys competing all the way to the end of practice, which is a good thing. Not that we haven't been, but you can see a little more sense of urgency. I think a lot of that is a little bit's maturity. I think some of it's confidence. So that's a good thing. So we got to continue to work hard. The next 2 days, get ready for a really good football team in Georgia, and then go on the road. When you go on the road in SEC, you find out a lot about yourself. You know, to me, it's one of the best things about being a player or coach in this league is you find out really who you are when you go on the road. You know, everybody's against you. It's tough environments. Have to overcome a whole lot. But you find guys who have maturity that can focus and do the little things that it takes to have success. With that, I'll take any questions.
Steve.
Just wondering, what sticks out the most in your memory when you look back on your own time at Georgia? And do you expect this experience to be any different than a normal road environment, being someplace you've coached in the past?
I would think that, you know, Georgia's a hard place to play. To start with, you know, like all the schools in the SEC, they have a lot of passion for their team. They have a very good football team that's very well coached. But in my time there, the players, the relationships that I got to build and be a part of, you know, had a lot of fond memories there.
David.
With the new redshirt rule, we've seen a lot of guys leaving schools. Do you guys have any interest in bringing any guys in, or is that something that your staff has thought about, and do you anticipate anybody leaving here?
Well, I think after 4 games, there's been things that's been brought to my attention that's happened nationally. You know, I think you got to kind of adjust with what the rules are. You know, we've really been focused on trying to improve our team. You obviously couldn't bring anybody in right now. But I've not focused, to answer your question, I'm not focused on bringing anybody in. Hadn't worried about it. We're trying to get the team we've got right now better.
Steve. Austin.
I had asked you about going back to Georgia, and obviously last week you had a situation where y'all's staff had guys who coached at Florida before, Florida had guys who just coached here before. Is it a different situation when you do that, or is this kind of the way it is in the SEC with so many people? Obviously you've coached at a bunch of places in the SEC, and so many other people seem to go from SEC place to SEC place. Is it a situation where it is different, or do you just encounter this a few times a year because of all the movement in the conference?
Yeah, I think if you work on staffs that have success, excuse me, that have success, guys on those staffs get an opportunity to you know, move on and kind of get promoted. So I've been fortunate to do that. So a lot of the guys that I've worked with have become head coaches or have become coordinators. So you know, we know lots of guys on all the staffs really, but particularly Georgia, you know, working with Kirby for 6 years. You know, when he was the defensive coordinator, you know, I really kind of, one of the things I did was I assisted him. I wasn't an on-the-field coach yet, so, you know, we spent a lot of hours together. You got Glenn Schumann there that was a grad assistant when we were there. Dan Lanning was at Alabama, and I was there for a little bit with him. So there's lots of guys there. And then you got the guys that are still there from Georgia that worked in administration and all around the building. So, you know, there's probably no secret to why they're having success. They're committed to what they're trying to get done. They've done a really good job. Kirby's got a vision, and they've worked hard to get there.
Austin, Jesse, Wes.
Coach, can you talk about what K'Ron Calvert's brought the last couple of weeks in practice, and do you feel like he's getting into more of a game-type shape? And do you feel like, you know, any injuries this week will play a part in this game?
No, I don't think from an injury standpoint any will affect us. You know, K'Ron You know, he's a very unique individual. I think he's had 3 ACLs, 2 before he got here. You know, so he's not played a lot of ball. He's a big man that can bend, has power. You know, he was even contemplating when we first got here about maybe not playing anymore. You know, he was that frustrated. But he's worked really hard. He's lost weight, got into shape. And I see the guy working every single day to improve as a player. And he's only going to get better. He's finally got an opportunity where he can go practice, and you see it every day.
How different is he at guard versus tackle?
He's an inside guy. He needs to play inside.
Jesse,
You kind of updated JG's status on Monday, but what have you seen from him through the 3 practices this week and kind of his status going into the weekend?
Talking about JJ?
JG.
JG. Hey, he's been out there every day. You know, Jarrett's a tough guy. You know, so that's not surprising to me. But he'll be ready to go.
Weston, David.
Obviously, there's some similarities, I guess, in the background with you and Kirby and some of the mentors y'all have had defensively. With what they do now and what y'all do now, how many similarities are there? Is it the same, or are there some big differences?
Well, to me, I think Kirby's defense and with Mel have they're a little different now than they were say 10 years ago. We all keep evolving a little bit, but they probably run a lot more odd, or we call mint, now than we did years ago. But I would say there is a lot of similarities, you know, and they're a lot further ahead of us because this is their 3rd year, you know, and they probably, when they took over, there was probably a lot of carryover. Not all of it's the same, but there's a lot of carryover because it was the defense that, you know, we run here. And so we steal from each other. You know, I watch their tape. I'm sure they probably watch somebody else's tape, and you're always trying to find ways to improve as a coach.
David Cobb and Blake. David Mack.
Jeremy, just with all the success and titles that you've had in your coaching background, is it hard this year to have patience as you guys kind of build this thing?
You know, what I want everybody in our program to do is to be at their best all the time. If we're at our best all the time, then the rest of it will take care of itself. And that's what we're working to do every single day. So I know where we want to go. I know where our players want to go. But you don't get what you want, you get what you earn. So we've got to continue to do that.
Blake.
I guess schematics aside, do you see some similarities between coaching styles between you and Kirby, given the fact that you worked with him for so long? Do you feel like your styles of coaching are similar? No.
Well, I would say probably in, you know, both of us worked in the same system. When you talk about schematically, probably beliefs, how you go about structuring things. I've not worked with him in several years, but I know from a baseline, we're probably very similar. I watched them on defense, and you know they play tough, they're physical, fly around to the football. They recruit the type of players that you're looking for, big, fast men that can deny the ball, put pressure on the quarterback. So they're doing a really good job.
Coach, I know JJ showed up and needed to get in better shape. Where have you seen things progress the few weeks he's been on campus for him on the field?
You know, it's probably to kind of paint the picture a little bit is, you know, if you had a guy here in June, it would probably be like right now is about the middle of July, you know. So everybody else was here in June, and then when you get to August, you have all these practices. So for him, really, the reality of it is by the time we get to the end of the season, would be almost like the end of fall camp. But we don't have football every day like you do in fall camp. We're not practicing 3s and 4s. You know, we're practicing 1s and 2s and getting ready for ball games. So right now he's competing on the scout team, doing a really good job. His body is changing, which is important. So, I mean, he's doing a good job for us, and he's getting better every day.
Coach back here. How would you evaluate Jarrett's ability to identify different looks that defensive fronts are giving and check out of plays when necessary? And then how much freedom is he given to do that?
Well, I think probably one of the most important things is you want to stay out of bad plays. You know, but when you talk about the quarterback being able to do that, you know, sometimes you can change the play, or you can kind of run a combo run, or you can run a run pass. You know, hey, we're gonna run it unless it's this look, then we're gonna throw it. But when you start doing that type stuff, then the rest of the guys have got to think pretty fast to snap the ball. I don't think Jared has any problem doing that, but sometimes, you know, everybody can. If everybody can't do it, it puts limitations on what he can do.
Jeremy, how did Keller Chris kind of handle the situation of knowing that Jarrett was going to be the guy after fall camp, and how have you seen him progress and sort of keep himself ready the past few weeks?
You know, we really hadn't talked about who the guy is. You know, I mean, we've played both guys. I know going into the first game, we had a plan and we executed the plan, and then we had a plan the next couple of games, you know. So we'll have a plan for this game. And we're going to try to play the players that we feel like give us the best opportunity to have success. And we'll make decisions on that each week.
How would you evaluate Kyle Phillips so far? And when you talk about leaders, is he one of the guys that has stepped up into that role?
Well, I think, you know, we have lots of guys that can be really good leaders for us. You know, everything's new, okay? Everything's new, whether it was winter workouts, whether it was spring ball, you know, summer conditioning, fall camp. You know, how do you handle the wind? How do you travel? How do you do meetings on the road? So, you know, at times I think some of the guys are trying to exactly figure out, you know, exactly what we would want them to do. And, you know, to me, about being a leader, you know, we're trying to encourage it, but it's not about what we want. They've got to kind of be themselves. Does that make sense? So it's still a little bit of a fill-out process, but we got a lot of guys that are working hard, that are trying to do the right thing. And I think the best way a lot of these guys can lead right now is lead by example. Just be your best every day. And I think Kyle's one of these guys who tries to do that.
Last question, Patrick.
Jeremy, kind of following up on Keller, I guess. What did you think of how he played when he got in the game against Florida, and what's your confidence level in what he can do if he's called upon?
Well, you know, it didn't matter who played quarterback against Florida. You know, first of all, we're behind in the game because we put ourselves in a hole by turning the football over. Secondly, we didn't protect very well, which wasn't just the O-line. There's more to it than that. So when you put yourself in a tough situation like that, it's hard to have success. It takes everybody. One guy can't do it. I haven't seen Jarrett, I hadn't seen Keller, or a lot of the guys in our program, I haven't seen them change. I see guys that continue to work as hard as they can to be the best that they can possibly be, which excites me.